Why, hello there, I'm Professor Joel, and welcome to another episode of Planet Scooby Reviews. Today we are covering the Caped Crusader Caper, and it is the 15th episode of the new Scooby Doo Movies, and it originally aired on December 16th, 1972. In this episode, we see the gang out camping near Gotham City, where they run into Batman and Robin. They also run into the Joker and Penguin. That's not a spoiler, because that's revealed 5 minutes in, which kind of ruins this episode for me, but I'll get to that later. And the Professor Flakey is another guest star in this episode, and he is kidnapped by Joker and the Penguin. Once again, Batman, Robin, the Joker, and the Penguin are voiced by their super friends counterparts, so don't expect Adam West as Batman if you're a fan of the 60s show, or Mark Hamill as the Joker if you're a fan of the 90s series. We also get a cool appearance by Yogi Bear and Fred Flintstone in this episode, which makes for a bit of fun. I don't have any additional trivia for this, so let's get on with the review. The episode begins with the gang sitting around a campfire, and Shaggy is naturally hungry. Daphne volunteers to cook something up, but requests that Scooby and Shaggy fetch more firewood. In their trek into the woods, they are scared by a deer and then terrified by an evil laugh. Shaggy and Scooby see the Joker and Penguin leading a scientist away, so they run back to the camp, but get trapped in a wooden cage.
Ah, but it is, Professor.
Let's sneak away before they find us.
There are night crawlers in this forest. Look!
I'll scare those campers out of the woods.
The Joker and Penguin spot the gang's campfire, and they plan on scaring the gang away. The Batcopter comes down, and Batman and Robin free Scooby and Shaggy from the trap. Back at the camp, Batman explains the professor is named Professor Flakey, and he was kidnapped earlier this morning.
And the little man you saw was Professor Flakey, the famous inventor who disappeared mysteriously this morning from his home.
Last seen entering this forest in the company of Joker and Penguin.
They must have a secret hideout here.
When we were driving in, I saw a cave.
Boy Wonder, we must continue our search.
Right.
Okay. Sure thing.
Batman was scanning the woods and accidentally caught Scooby and Shaggy in his bat cage. Batman requests the gang flash the lights of the Mystery Machine if they run into any trouble, and then takes off in his copter once more. Shaggy tells the gang he saw a cave, so the gang take off in the Mystery Machine and head towards it. Unfortunately, the road is now blocked by a fallen log. Up in a tree, they see a dryad, a spirit that lives in a tree, and that dryad squawks at them.
Like, what happened?
Hey, what happened?
Let's see if we can move it.
We can roll this away easily.
Oh, creepers, what is that?
I'd say it's a dryad.
A tree spirit. They live in the forest.
Freddy rolls the log off the road and into the water. Unfortunately, Scooby had been hiding in it because he was afraid of the dryad, and now Scooby is in the lake. Freddy and the girls trail the dryad in the Mystery Machine, while Shaggy goes to rescue Scooby.
Jinkies, he got away.
Well, let's go back for Shag and Scoop.
The dryad pops up and gives Scooby and Shaggy a good scare, and they run deeper into the woods. Freddy and the girls find the cave and drive towards it, but they are turned around by a bridge troll who revolves a covered bridge 180 degrees as they are on it, so they end up just heading back to the campsite. Batman lands and suspects there's something fishy going on, so he gets back in his copter and follows the gang as they head back to the cave.
It's our campsite. Maybe the road circles around.
No, kids, the road does not circle back. A cave? A log in the road? A so-called dryad? And now Shaggy and Scooby are missing, eh? Now you kids check out that cave.
Covered bridge ahead.
Make that trip again, kids. Turn on your headlights so we can follow you in the Batcopter.
Right. We'll get to the bottom of it by staying on top of it.
Underneath the bridge, we see the troll and the dryad, and we learn that the Joker is the dryad and the Penguin is the troll. Scooby and Shaggy are trying their best to get back to camp and are now at the covered bridge. The Joker and Penguin begin to hassle them, but fortunately Batman spots the trouble from the sky and chases after the Joker and Penguin. The Mystery Machine then shows up and Scooby and Shaggy hop in and head towards the cave. At the cave we find a little hole in the cliff, so the gang head in. Freddy is unimpressed with the size of the cave and kind of mocks Shaggy for thinking this was a clue.
There There's the cave. See it?
Jeepers, Shaggy, you call this a hideout?
Nobody in his right mind would use this as a secret hideout.
But before he can get too far, Shaggy trips on a rock and falls into a secret entrance. The gang enter the entrance and find a passageway going further underground, which leads to an underground lake with a boat.
It looks like a passageway leading underground.
Ooh, it's eerie. Someone is using this cave.
We're gonna search these caverns.
Freddy and the girls spot another passage and head off to investigate, while Scooby and Shaggy stay in the underground lake area in case they need a quick exit. We jump to the Joker and Penguin, who are interrogating the professor, who explains he has a flying suit. The Joker wants this suit so he can fly away after robberies. Professor Flakey explains the flying suit is at Hillside Aircraft in Gotham City.
Imagine pulling a job and flying away into the night. We know you've perfected a new invention, Professor Flakey.
What would you do with a sighing flute? A flying suit made of rubber. When a person wears it, he can air through the fly, flare through the eye, coming through the rye. Fly through the air.
A flying suit, eh?
Just before they head off to Gotham City, the Joker and Penguin get an alert that the kids are in the cave, so they activate a fake mechanical bat to chase them about the cave. For Scooby and Shaggy, the Joker and Penguin fabricate a ghost to terrify them.
You've entered my tomb, the tomb of gloom. Away, away, or you'll meet your doom. Blah, 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 blah. Away, away, or you'll rule the day.
Into hopping into the boat, so they'll leave. And as they are in the boat, the Joker also creates a water spirit to terrify them even further.
It's coming after us. Let's run.
In their attempts to leave the cave, Shaggy and Scooby also run into Professor Flakey. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang run into Batman and Robin. Soon, everyone reunites and they head back to the top so they can intercept the Joker. The professor explains that they are headed to the Hillside Aircraft base, but fortunately the professor lied and the flying suits are at the Gotham Rubber Factory. They do, however, feel the Joker and Penguin will figure out where the flying suit is after they don't see it at the Hillside Aircraft base, so they split up, with Batman and Robin going to Hillside Aircraft and the rest of the gang going to the Gotham Rubber Factory. Unfortunately, the Joker and Penguin have swiped the Batcopter, so the gang first have to drive Batman and Robin to the Batcave so they can fetch their Batmobile.
Those devious devils flew off in our Batcopter.
We can get you to your Batcave in our mystery machine.
At the Rubber Factory, we get some cool Yogi Bear, Fred Flintstone, and Batman and Robin parade balloons.
Jinkies, giant Batman and Robin balloons.
And Yogi Bear and Fred Flintstone and Santa Claus.
My company makes those for the Gotham Giving Thanks City Day Parade.
The professor shows the gang how the rubber suit works in his lab as they wait for the Joker and Penguin to show up.
This is my invention, a flying suit. Arms through here, legs through here. By pressing the right buttons, you can jet yourself up or down or any which way.
They soon hear a helicopter arrive and they see the Joker and Penguin land in the yard. Freddy makes full use of the rubber props and does his best to trap the two villains. Batman and Robin soon show up and take back their copter and fly it up to the roof to the professor's lab. The professor panics, thinking it's the Joker and Penguin, and tosses the suit out the window where it lands on Scooby. Scooby has his own adventure in the flying suit while the Joker and Penguin try to capture him. We get about 5 minutes of chase hijinks until the bad guys are finally caught.
You captured them again, Batman.
Thank you, Fred, but I didn't capture them. This balloon did.
Yes, but the balloon's Batman.
Shaggy and Scooby.
It was your fault, you feather-brained fathead.
With another mystery solved, which in this case wasn't really a mystery because we knew the entire time it was the Joker and the Penguin, the gang head off on their next adventure. I give this episode a 5.5 out of 10. This episode is okay and watchable, but it didn't really resonate with me at all. And I think, like I said in the intro, I think it's just because they revealed the villains to be Joker and the Penguin too early, like 5 minutes in. So there's very little suspense and, you know, there's no mystery. And Scooby Doo to me is all about the spookiness and the mystery, with the gags and comedy coming second. So with no mystery, with no suspense, with no spookiness, this is just a bit of a drag of an episode for me. Not much to keep me interested. And I also thought it was a bit repetitive. We saw the Joker and Penguin earlier on in this series. And, you know, they get a repeat visit, and they are like one of the most popular Batman villains, of course, but I wish they kind of switched it up with Sub-Zero or Riddler or Poison Ivy or someone else. I think it would have made for a more interesting episode. I did enjoy the opening with the gang camping. I thought that was pretty cool. It's always great to see them acting as kids, and I didn't mind the cave scenes or the rubber factory. However, I was just kind of bored with this one. I was just kind of waiting for it to end, and my mind was wandering because, like I said, there's no mystery to keep my mind entertained. If you like chase scenes and if you like comedy, you might like this episode a little bit better. Batman and Robin, they also seem somewhat stuffed into this episode. You could have taken them out completely and they would have not changed this episode much at all. They're mostly in their helicopter and they land occasionally, like they land like 3 or 4 times, talk to the gang and take off. And they're always like taking off and doing their own thing, and their own thing is kind of brief. So they're not guest stars in much of a manner other than just kind of padding this episode out. I also want to say Professor Flakey, he just annoyed the heck out of me. I just thought he was just the stupidest character. I didn't like him at all. He reminded me of like the classic kind of Flintstones doctor where they're always kind of just, their mind's somewhere else, and you saw that a lot in the Flintstones, and that's kind of the way they went with this. I'd rather see a smart professor to kind of make this a little more serious. I always like the smarter professors in these episodes. Is this my least favorite episode? I'm not entirely sure. Next week I have one more episode to cover, and that is the Loch Ness Mess. After that, you can expect a rankings video to follow, and you'll be able to leave comments on there. If you're new to my channel, you just can't leave comments on these ones because I show cartoon clips, which means it could be intended for kids, and kids aren't allowed to leave comments on videos, so YouTube says no comments on any videos, and that's just the way I got to do it. So next week, no clips, or not next week, the week after with my ranking videos, I won't be showing any clips, so comments galore. I really look forward to hearing what your rankings or your favorites or least favorites are in this series. So once again, I want to thank you for any likes, views, subscribes, and shares. It's always great to see my views and subscribes go up. It keeps me motivated, keeps me happy. These episodes do take 10 to 12 hours to create. For me, I could probably do it faster, but I'm not that smart or efficient, I guess. It is a lot of fun making these episodes, so I do enjoy it. So as long as someone's watching, I want to thank you for paying attention and following me as I review every Scooby Doo episode out there. Anyway, until next week, stay spooky.
Jinkies, he got away.
Well, let's go back for Shag and Scoop.
Blah, blah, blah.